Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you have anything you would like us to film, strategies, you have any questions, be it on dice, blackjack, Bach, Pai Gow, anything at all that you would like us to feature, please email us at sincityliving.lv@gmail.com. We absolutely love filming videos for you guys, and last week was a bit of a dry week. I had got no emails from any of our viewers, so please email us if you would like us to show you anything that we possibly can. As usual, we like to do our shout out to our patrons. We appreciate all of your tips and support. Really hope to be able to add some more games. We really want to add roulette as soon as we're able to. And I hope you guys are enjoying those exclusive videos every single week that we're putting out for you guys. If anybody has any questions about that, just go ahead and take a look down below in the description of the video. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. So for today, what are we going to cover? We're going to cover mixing and matching with place bets and come bets. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm actually just going to feature a strategy that I saw a player do the other day that is one way of mixing and matching them, and then I'll cover a couple of other ways and why you would possibly want to do why you would want to do such a thing. So here's how it would work. We would have a point set, and a player of course would have a pass line bet with his odds. Now once the point was set, he would go ahead and do his place bets, and his place bets would be $20 each on the 4 and 10, $30 each on the 5 and 9, then a $42 6, and then $10 come bet. And this is actually not his identical bets. His bets were actually a lot higher because he had he would do a much higher come bet. I dropped it down a little bit, pretending we're on a $10 minimum bet table, just to show you guys how it would work, because it's the exact same thing. So basically, the way he chose his bets is that his place bets would handle his odds for him, and he would always do max odds. So if something were to travel, say it travels to the 6, right? You're on a 3, 4, 5 table down on the strip. Then on a $10 bet on the 6, your maximum odds would be $50. So with that $42 bet, he would get paid $49. He would just do 50 for 1, and then he would collect some and use the rest for his odds. Then he would put another come bet out. Right? This was not a 2-point Molly system or a 3-point Molly system. This was a perpetual come bet. He had the bases loaded at one point. It was really cool. And now if this were to travel to a 5 or a 9, well, it gets paid $42. Maximum odds would be $40. And there we go. So he's going to keep a little bit. You could actually do it with a smaller amount and just not pull as much back. You could do it with a much smaller amount if you really wanted to. Same thing with the 4 and 10. Don't even need to throw in $1. This is going to get paid $39. Maximum odds are $30, and there's your odds for you. Now, like I said, you don't even need to do such a large bet if you did not want to. On the 4 and 10, you could just do a simple $10. Simple $10 means you would have to throw in $1 or $2 depending on where you're at, but then you would have your $30 for your max odds. So that's what his strategy was based on, was using his place bets to win enough to be able to do a maximum bet on odds without having to do such a large initial outlay. Now obviously he had a large initial outlay on the place bets themselves, but on each individual number he didn't have to throw so much in. For instance, on the 6 with a $10 bet, he has $50 in odds, and he has $50 in odds. Now how much did he have to throw in? Well, he started out with a $42 6, correct? So he's got $41 here. So basically he has kicked in $1 and had 50 odds. So his actual outlay right here is $11. The $10 for the flat bet and $1 that turned into his 50 odds. Same thing over here. Now over here, he started out with $30.
he has 40 odds and an extra $2. So he actually, his outlay right here is $8. Because he collected $2, that means that $10 here is actually only $8 outlay, and he has the maximum odds without having to, theoretically, without having to spend any of his own money. In reality, of course, he had his place bets set up, and that's why he would do it at such a large level. So he would actually pull back enough that his only real outlay is the flat bet on his come bets. It's an interesting strategy. There's definitely some thought behind it. This player has a lot of money, so they started out with a very, very, very high bankroll because, again, they were doing very, very high bets in comparison to this. But it's not bad. It's not bad. It makes sense. There's some thought processes behind it. It eliminates one of the weaknesses of come bets, which is requiring a number be hit twice because you have the place bets there. So the first time you hit, you actually got paid. You used most of that money, but you got paid. The weaknesses of this, and the reason that I'm not a huge fan of this, is simply the fact that the 3, 4, 5 odds, you're making less money than you would if it was a place bet. Except on the 6. The 6, you would make the exact same amount of money either way. Okay? But let's look at the 9. Now the 9, you've got 40 in odds, $10 flat bet, right? So this whole thing right here is going to pay you $70. $70. Actually, on 3, 4, 5 odds, if you do max bet, you're always going to get paid 7 times your flat bet. So even on the 10, 30 odds plus 10 flat bet, you're going to make $70. So this whole thing would pay $70. Okay. Now, if it was a place bet, it would also get paid $70. No real difference there. You get paid $70 here. Now, if this were a place bet, you would be getting paid $78. As we've shown in our other videos of place bets versus come bets, you don't start having an advantage in come bets until you're at the 10 times odds point. Once you're at the 10 times odds point, there you have an advantage. You're actually going to make more money if you had a come bet with maximum odds versus having a place bet. Now, what other times might you want to mix and match your come bets and your place bets? During the times where you are on a hot roll and you have achieved table max. Once you've achieved table max, the only way to make any more money, to gamble any more money on a particular number, would be to double park. Now, this will not apply at a casino that does not allow double parking. And I'll explain that after I go over the double parking itself. So let's say that I am at a place that has we'll say a $5,000 max bet. Okay, $5,000 table max bet. And let's say I've been doing place bets. So I'm up to $6,000 on my 6. $6,000 on my 6. I can't press this again. I'm not able to. So what could I do? Well, if this is a 3, 4, 5 table, that means the maximum odds would be $5,000, right? So I could do a $1,000 put bet. I could put it straight into the number and then do 5,000 in odds. Boom, I'm done. Now I am double parked. Now if a 6 were to roll, I would get paid my $7,000 here and my $7,000 here. And I could do that for any of the numbers. I could, of course, also do that if I'm starting out in the other direction with come bets, if I were to be pressing my flat bet and my odds every single time it hit, but it's not really the best way to play, again, unless you're on a 10 times odds table. Now here's the time that you won't be able to double park. If you happen to be at a casino that their policy when it comes to the table max on craps is to a number. So a lot of places will have a table max 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000. It's going to depend a lot on the individual house and what the minimum bet is. And that table max generally applies to any one bet on this part of the table, of course. Now they keep them proper on the 6 and 8. So, for instance, if the place had a $1,000 max bet, then 1,000 would be the max, except on the 6 and 8, where it would be 1,200, 1,000, 1,000, 1,200, 1,200. your maximum pass line bet would be 1,000, your maximum odds would be 1,000. Some places will put a little bit of wiggle room if you do a table max pass line bet and allow you to take more odds, but not every place will do that. So that's that has that table max bet per individual bet, which means that if it's, say, $1,000 table max, then you could certainly do a $1,200 six, and then you could do a $200 come bet or put bet with $1,000 odds, and you're at your $1,000 max per bet. But some places it's to a number. For instance, a place may say that you're allowed, your table max is $5,000 to a number, which means that if I had, say, a $3,000 six, I could press it up to $6,000. Now, $5,000 maximum bet, but they would allow $6,000. Most places would on a six. I could press it up to $6,000, then I'd be a table max. Or I could have, say, $1,000 come bet with 2,000 odds. Still $6,000. $6,000 to a number. Although if they have a $5,000 max bet, they actually may say I could only do 1,000 odds, even though I would be allowed to do 6,000 as a place bet. Same thing, let's say I was on the 9. If I had $3,000 in a place bet, I could do 1,000 and 1,000, or I could do 5,000 as a place bet. They only allow a certain dollar amount going that many ways to a number. So all depends on the individual place and where you are at. So I hope you guys find this enlightening, illuminating, interesting. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we will catch you next time.